I'm here with my friend Diann. I can't remember. I think you requested to be on the podcast, or did you were sharing about your situation and I said you should be on my podcast? I actually don't remember.
You were kind of like, oh, do you want to be on my podcast?
Yeah, that's right. Okay, it was my idea.
Yeah.
I'm awesome. I'm a genius.
There you go.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Obviously. So,
Right.
Oh, also I've said that I'm going to be conscious of taking so and like out of my speaking. Out of talking to be less distracting. I almost said so. We're gonna see how this goes. Diann, tell me about tell the listeners about you. Oh, hold on. One of my favorite things about Diann is that she is a ridiculously powerful woman, human being. Just the integrity to which you hold yourself. And we're going to talk about that more with what's been going on in your relationships and things like that. But the integrity that you bring to yourself, to the people around you, to your life, it's inspiring. And that's been something that's been inspiring to me since I first met you. And we were just talking about that. But yeah, so yeah, so.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm like a little bit about myself. Recently, so something people love to hear, one, is that I'm an opera singer. I got my degree in music arts and my minor in German. So I do speak German. I haven't spoken in a while, but I do remember it. And I grew up there. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I do. And I speak echt Deutsch. I speak like real German without an American accent because I lived there when I was little.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I know a couple of phrases, but they sound terrible. I totally sound like an American trying their best and failing. That's how I sound speaking German.
Yeah. And most people, I mean, it's fine. It's just I lived there when I was little, from when I was 5 to when I was 7. So I picked up the accent as like a real German person. I've actually had somebody who's a native say, wow, you sound like a native. So it's
that's
really
so
fun.
Cool.
Yeah. So with that, I'm an opera singer by night, like I don't do it as my job. And I sing lots of different languages. I love languages, that kind of a thing. And just absolutely enjoy performing. I also, enjoy being in the leadership program that we're both in, and the education that we have, and just be a leader and really transform people's lives and like have a life that thrives from it. It is just incredible what I get to do every day because of all the work that I've done and all the work that I do for other people. It's just so incredible. Like I cannot believe my life most of the time. Like I just can't believe my life is the way it is. Yeah. And yet it's like, yeah, of course this is my life. Yeah. Because I've cultivated it this way. Yeah. So how else would it be?
Absolutely. And my roommate calls it Elizabeth Cunningham days. She says that. Diann knows my roommate. Yeah. And what was it? I don't remember the first time that she said it, but she said, I had a day, and at the end of the day, I thought, this must be like what Elizabeth Cunningham's days are like.
I get that too. One of my best friends said that. She's like, I had a really busy day, and I was go, go, go. And she's like, that must be what Diann's life is like. She's like, I don't know how you do it. And yeah. I just do.
but I love it, like every single day. It's so great. Yeah. I had on my birthday, I just had a normal day on my birthday. I didn't really do anything special for my birthday this year. I did something like on the weekend, but on the actual birthday day, I just had like my normal day. Yeah. And halfway through the day, it was noon, and I'd already done 6 things or whatever I'd done. Yeah. And I just stopped for a second, and I had a moment where I just said, oh, I love, like, even if I had to choose what I was doing on my birthday, I would choose to do this. Yeah. Because that's what my life is that I get to do what I love every single day. And it is given out of the education that we have and the work that we've done inside of the leadership programs that we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I look at my calendar and people who see it think I'm crazy. And they're like,
Yeah.
and I warn people, I'm like, I do a lot and I have a lot on my calendar. So just let me know. Like, I will schedule things, but it's not like, hey, let's do something, because I got to check, because my life is just go, go, go. And it's not like it's not important that I'm doing things with people. I mean, it's very important. But it's just, that's how my life goes.
Yeah, and people get really concerned, because people get really concerned with me. They say, oh, well, I don't reach out to you because I know that you're really busy, or I guess we'll have to look at Elizabeth's schedule or something like that. Like, people get super concerned, and I have to kind of pump the brakes on that in those conversations, where it's just, okay, yeah, I have a lot of things to do, but exactly like what you were saying, if I have it on my schedule, I'll be there.
Yeah.
If I have it on my, if you're like, okay, from Saturday from 3 to 7 o'clock, we're going to do the thing with the stuff. Great. Awesome. Yeah. I'm there. Like, it's in my calendar. I'm there.
Yeah. It really isn't. I even put like do not schedule on my calendar, because otherwise I won't stop.
Yeah.
Like, and it makes it really, really clear when I am available. So when people say, hey, do you have this Saturday free? Or, hey, do you have, this from 3 to 7 free? I can be like, yeah, I do. Or, no, I'm working for, I'm doing this from 2 to 5. So does it work for me to do it from like 6 to 7? Or it just makes it really, really clear.
Yeah.
And because of the program I'm in, I'm actually already scheduling 2020 right now. Like, all the way through. Yeah. So it's just like, and people think I'm crazy. They're like, how do you know?
I know. I have until June of next year. And not everything.
Yeah.
But I have all the way up until June starting to be scheduled for next year, which is, but part of it is great, because it's all the it's all the things that I love doing. Like, everything that I'm putting into my calendar, I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
I'm super pumped about.
Yeah. Same.
And it becomes a matter of integrity when I'm putting something into my calendar that I'm not excited about.
Yeah.
It's almost, okay, why would I put that in my calendar if I'm not excited about it? Because I only put things in my calendar that I'm up to and for, and all of that, right?
I mean, I don't know about excited. I put take out the trash, so
that's true. I do put I do the same things.
But
pay bills. Bills are in my calendar.
Oh, all of my bills are in the calendar.
Yeah.
And I love that, because everything's automatic payment. So I just have it on my calendar to remind me. And there was a time when I was like, I would have to log into things and remember and blah, blah, blah. No, I just put it on automatic payment, and then I remind myself because it's on my calendar. And it makes it so worry free. But yeah, I'm like, I have things like take out the trash and clean the litter box. So funny. And
I'm
like
sure that we sound like
crazy
people. I'm so for it though. I'm so for it. I do this thing. You can literally look at I have on my calendar like eat snack. I know. Or else I'll forget to eat. I will. I'll schedule things over eating. So every single day I have 5 reoccurring events. I have for food. I have my breakfast smoothie scheduled every single morning.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my coach was making fun of me because he said, he goes, did you have your smoothie yet?
But it's true.
People know. But people, and since it's in my calendar, like, people know.
Yeah, exactly. And then other people can keep you accountable for that,
exactly.
Which is incredible, right?
I go over to my girlfriend's house and she says, do you have all your smoothie stuff?
Right? Because she knows.
Because
right?
she knows.
That's that's the one thing I haven't put in there yet, but I really need to, because there are times when I'll go all day and not eat, and then I literally got so angry at this camp out that I went to recently. Oh, no. I had to step away
to remove yourself from the situation.
Oh yes, I had to go step away because I couldn't be around people anymore. I was so hungry.
No, seriously, that's the thing.
Oh my god,
I have to schedule food, or else all of a sudden it's like 5 o'clock and I've eaten nothing and I want to just hurt people. I'm so angry.
Oh yes, it's so irrational. And the minute I eat, I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, no, even those first couple bites, even those first couple bites, you're just like, everything's fine. Yeah. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
No one was harmed.
I know. No one was harmed. An arm off.
Okay, although I could totally talk to you about our calendars, and I could totally talk to you about food for an hour.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
We could just keep,
I know.
and then we could turn off the podcast, and then we could keep talking
fine.
about it.
Yeah.
It'd be totally great. But you were sharing with me about a relationship that you were in that I don't know how much I want to divulge,
right?
But I'll let you dive into it. But you were sharing about it, and you were sharing about how it went from being one thing to being another thing, and actually now it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And so just talking about the transitions between, and I think one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on my podcast is because what I see, especially in polyamorous relationships, are the transitions between how that can manifest, even with the same person.
Yeah.
So your relationship starts out one way, and then it changes into something else, and then maybe it changes into something else, and then maybe something gets added on, and then maybe da 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 da. And I think that you've navigated it so beautifully. Not that, there's been no hiccups or anything. Like, I don't mean beautifully like everything's gone perfectly.
Right. It hasn't at all.
But I mean beautifully in how I was saying at the beginning, a couple minutes ago, where you handle your life with such integrity that you don't put up with not integrity for very long.
Yeah.
You really do notice, you're like, wow, this really doesn't work for me. And then you do something about it. And I think that power that you have is something that people listening can take a lot from, because it is inspiring. So I'm talking you up, but now you're going to tell your story.
Yeah. No, and I get it. Yeah. And it's hard to see it from the inside, right? Because this is just my life. Like, this is what I deal with. And then, like, it just happens. And I get that it takes something to do it the way that I've done it. Yeah, because it takes it to continue to uphold that, no, this does not work for me, or yes, this actually does work for me. Yeah, and then taking the actions consistent with what you say. Yeah. Like, hey, this works for me, I'm going to continue doing this, or hey, this doesn't work for me, I'm not going to do this anymore. Yeah. And then you don't. Yeah. And people don't do that. People are like, I include myself in that too. There's definitely been times in my life where I say, oh, I'm not going to do this anymore. It doesn't work. And then a month later, here I am back doing the same thing. Yeah. Yeah. And, it's human nature. We all do it. But yeah. So I'm trying to think how far back. I mean, so just to kind of summarize, to get to like what's raw and happened. the raw. Yeah. Like really recently, Sunday. So I was with my ex-boyfriend it was actually really funny enough, it would have been 5 years on Friday. Wow. This Friday? This last Friday. This last Friday. Our 5-year anniversary would have been on Friday. Oh. Last Friday. What? So, and we actually went to a poly camp out last Friday, and we drove together. And then this is when all that happened. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What? I know. Isn't you that didn't crazy? Tell me that. I know. I did stop you, though. Yeah. I was like, don't stop sharing. Yeah. We're going to turn on the mics, and then you can start sharing. Yeah. So we were together for 4.5 years in a monogamous relationship. Uh-huh. We talked a little bit about other partners and that kind of thing. But at the time, it wasn't something I wanted to do. I had a past about it because I had a marriage where it wasn't equal, where he felt that he could go and have sex with other women, and I couldn't. So it's the past that stopped me from doing it in my relationship with my now ex. Yeah, you were like, that didn't work. I didn't like that. I don't want that. Yeah. So... And it took a while, so then we broke up, and it was a really clean breakup. It was like, okay, this isn't working. We're not happy. We really just got down, and we had broken up a couple times before. But you are still living together, right? We are still living, well, ish. Which we'll get to. We're still in an ish. Okay, yeah. I got it. Okay. I'll let you, I'll let you go. No, it's fine. So we lived together for about 3.5 years. I think we moved in together after about a year or less after starting to date. And we just broke up in February.
This past February.
Okay. And it was a clean break. And we really were just like, okay, this isn't working. I still love you. And I'm never going to be the person you want for your partner. It's just not going to be that. And you are never going to be the person that I want as a partner for life, as a romantic, like in love partner. And we still love each other. We still respect each other. We still trust each other.
Yeah. And I guess I want to clarify, what do you mean by you're never going to be that?
It's just, well, for one, I wanted someone who was in the education like we are. And he said he was never going to do that.
Okay.
And it was never something he wanted to do. And it's a deal breaker for me. And it's the thing that you're talking about, the integrity of it all. We wouldn't be in integrity with each other being in a relationship where we knew that it wasn't going to be that way. And specific example for him, he wanted somebody who was home more. And he would watch TV shows with him and like stay home and like be the number one person around. And that's just not me.
Yeah.
I mean, we just talked about the calendar. I'm out all the time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that my partner or partners aren't important. It's just my work is important. What I do in this education and the courses is important for the world.
Yeah, like the lives that you impact, and that this is something that you see as your purpose.
Yeah.
You know, that you get to, it fulfills who you are, that you get to make the difference that you make with people in the world. And it doesn't make your partners not important, but it makes it so there's, okay, I am going to do this and I still love you, and how are we going to make it work? And I totally get that, because I've actually not gotten into a relationship with someone because they wanted the same thing. They wanted, I want someone who's home when I'm home. And I said point blank, that's never going to be me. That's never going to be me.
And I told him that, and it was to the point in February where we both got it. We both just got it. Like, that will never be me. And you're looking for someone that will do that.
Yeah.
And it's no love lost between us. Like, it was incredible.
Wow.
The one thing I will say is that he is always very real and very authentic, and he always calls me on my integrity. Like, I've told him for a long time, he's very intuitive. He always knows when something's up. I could never hide anything from him.
That's great, though.
It is.
That's great to have someone who's just calls you on your shit. Just like, hey,
all the time.
What's up? Yeah. I know you're not telling me something. What is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Always. It was just like, I really, really appreciated that from him. And, you know, it just, so we broke up in February, and then we are still living together, and it's a 1-bedroom apartment because we live in Seattle. And I can't afford it on my own. And he couldn't afford, you know, and so we just, because we still had the respect, it was a clean thing. Like, okay, we're done. Okay, let's just live together. Let's live out our lease, and we'll just be friends, and we'll still hang out. We'll still do all that. And it was just like, all right, cool, done. Let's start this new relationship of being best friends. So we did that. I did that for about a month or so.
Didn't you have any like pull to be intimate or?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. Like, now it's like, okay, we're sleeping in the same bed together. But, and I really like, okay, so that's the agreement. The agreement is we're friends. So then I stopped like undressing with him around, like, and I would turn my back, you know, and like he said, I promise, like, I'll wear underwear and like that kind of stuff, you know, like, so
trying to draw those like physical boundaries.
Yeah. And it didn't work. So about a month in, he tells me, he's like, okay, I just want to have a conversation with you. I still find you sexually attractive. And I kind of want to see like what it would be like if we still had sex, but that we're not together. Because he knew in the past that I had done that with somebody else, and it was successful. One of my other exes and I were together for about a year or so, and then he never wanted to get married. He never wanted to have kids, and he's like, I don't want to string you along and like have resentment for you until we break up. So I think we should break up now while we still respect each other and we still love each other and just be friends. And then we started being friends with benefits almost right away because we loved having sex with each other.
Yeah, I've definitely had relationships like that where it's clear that the relationship is not going to work, and it's clear between I think of like one relationship in particular where it was clear that the relationship wasn't going to work. It was clear that, you know, we weren't going to be together anymore. Yeah. And then both of us were just like, hey, we still have great sex. Yeah. Do you want to keep doing that? And we so it's just like, yeah, I do. Yeah. I do want to keep doing that.
Exactly. Actually. And we had boundaries and we had rules, and we said, you know, we can date other people, and if we found someone that we wanted to be with, that we could tell each other, okay, we're not going to have sex anymore. And it actually worked out where we both met somebody around the same time, and I met my husband right around the time that he met his girlfriend. This is, you know, the past relationship, and we stopped having sex with each other, and then we just became friends. And my husband and him actually were really good friends.
No way.
Yeah, it was really great. Like, they used to talk more than I would with him, with my ex, and like they got along because they were both gamers. I tend to date gamers and nerds and all of that. So they used
you came into my house and you pulled out a little bag out of your purse, and it says Geek Famous on it. It's like hashtag Geek Famous. I didn't say anything. But I was like, of course she does. Right. That is not surprising at all that you have that. I actually I have a pair of underwear that says I heart geeks.
Yes. I know, I need that.
I specifically wear it around certain people.
That's right.
Just not even that they're going to see it, but like just in case, like just in the off chance that this person might get to see my underwear, I'm so wearing this underwear around them.
Totally. I'm such a nerd. I have Wonder Woman underwear. I was telling people this last weekend. I'm like, I have enough to wear like one pair for a whole week. So
Wonder Woman underwear?
Oh yes.
I love you so much.
Isn't that great?
Sometimes I told it doesn't matter who I told that to. But I told whoever I told someone that sometimes I wear just like ridiculous or sexy or exciting underwear with, you know, business attire just to give myself like that extra little like
totally,
like I just like, you don't even know how sexy I am under these clothes.
That's
like, you don't even know.
Yeah, totally. I do that. But yeah. So anyway, I was like, what was I? Okay.
Anyway, you date geeks and gamers. Got it.
I do. Yeah. So they became friends and everything, and it worked out beautifully. And my husband knew all about it because I was really. It was before the, you know, all this work that we've done, but like I was clear back then. I'm like, communication is key, and I'm not keeping this from the person that I potentially want to be married to for the rest of my life. Because the person that was there before him is still important to me. You know, like I still love him to this day. Like we still get along and everything. And, you know, and it helps shape some of the relationships that I have now. So knowing all that, my ex now knew that I'd had that in the past and that it was successful. So he felt that he could say, hey, let's be friends with benefits. And so we talked about our boundaries, and we talked about, you know, what was going to go on. And basically at the time it was just, we're friends with benefits, and whenever we want to have sex.
Yeah, I was going to say, what are some of the were there any boundaries specifically, or it was just like, you just know that you're not in a relationship and you're having sex?
Pretty much. It was like, we're not getting back together. We like made that very clear. Like, okay, no matter how much I literally said, you can't catch feelings. Like, I can't.
You're not allowed. I'm like, how do you help that?
You can't catch feelings. I was like, I'm like, we can do this, but we're never getting back together, you know? And because it was tough for him. Like, it was really rough because he literally says that I am, and I don't particularly like that he says this, but I get what he means. You know, he always says that I have made the biggest difference in his life. Like, he wouldn't be where he is today without me. And that I am now like the bar of the woman he is looking to date. Now, I don't particularly like that, but I get what he's saying because there's no way I would be any other way. I'm like, damn right I am, you know?
I know. Part of it's like, duh.
Right?
Obviously. Have you met me?
Right, exactly.
My name's Diann Spicer, and I'm fucking awesome.
Right?
You're welcome.
So, but then the other part is like, you shouldn't hold me on a pedestal. You shouldn't compare other people to me.
Yeah,
like,
well, it's setting other people up to fail.
Yeah.
It's basically setting up his future relationships to fail, and it's also no one is ever going to be you.
No,
and they can only be themselves, and it's missing out on the awesomeness of other people if you are comparing them to someone who is it's comparing apples and oranges. Like, apples are awesome in their way, oranges are awesome in their way, but if you compare them, it doesn't make any sense.
And that's why part of the issues that we're having now has turned out the way that it's turned out. So to get to all that, like, so we were just friends with benefits, and like we were just going along, and then he started going and searching out poly and swinger parties, because apparently I didn't find out until after we started going, but he used to do it when he was younger. Like when he was 16, he started going to those kinds of things, and then he got out of it, so he has a whole background of it, and he's really familiar with it, but he never really told me that. And that's part of also why I think the things that are coming up now are coming up, because he would not tell me stuff, and then it would come out later. So
do you think that that's why he's so good at being able to call you out when you have something to hide?
Probably. Yeah, I never really thought about that. But somebody who hides things all the time is really good at picking up when other people are hiding. So, yeah, and I've always told him he's very intuitive, because he really is. And there's just nothing that will get by him. And I actually told him when we were talking about like the different girls he was starting to date, I'm like, you feel it, you know whether it's right or not. And I'm not going to say whether or not you should date this person, but everything you're telling me is throwing up red flags. And you've got to trust your intuition. I think it's a big thing in the poly community too. You've got to trust your intuition.
Yes.
I'm really, really clear about it when I'm in any situation, and up until now, like, he was there for me. We go to all of the poly parties, and we went to the campouts that we went to together because we could watch out for each other. Like, he would always watch out for me. Like, anyone who approached me or was around me, he would keep his distance, of course, but like, he would always be like, are you okay? Like, is this person fine? Like, how is this going? And there's actually somebody that started to be an issue. He ended up being a little too clingy at one point, and I talked to my ex about him, and he was like, do you want me to have a talk to him about it? Because he wants to make sure that I'm safe. And so I really appreciate that. And it's a big deal to really listen to your intuition when stuff like that happens.
And be able to trust yourself.
Yeah. So I've learned a lot about that recently. But so he started going to parties and stuff. And then he's like, I really think that, if you're interested in doing this, I'd really like you to come with me. And I was like, well, yeah, I've actually always been interested in it. I just didn't really, because of my past with my husband, I wasn't sure. And I didn't know if it could go any other way. And he's like, oh, yeah, it totally can. And he's like, I've been to these places, and I'll make sure that you're safe. And I'll go to make sure that, it's a place that you would want to go. And so then I ended up going to like a really laid back place that was just like, they have really clear rules. They have really clear like orientations that they do. And it was a very chill, like 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday. Like, it wasn't like a night party kind of thing, because they're very different, like the different atmospheres. And so we went, and I had an incredible time.
Yeah.
And I tell everybody who is new to the poly, like, parties and poly lifestyle and swinger lifestyle, however you want to say it. I mean, the definitions are kind of fluid. And
I would say I always differentiate between polyamory and swingers.
Yeah. And I'm still learning that. So this happened in like June. So I've only been in this lifestyle for a few months.
Yeah.
So, and people are actually really surprised when they hear that, because I'm so comfortable and so clear when I'm there
Yeah.
and who I am.
Yeah. And it's because it's you're clear in who you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it doesn't matter. Like, we could throw you into almost any scenario, Diann. I am clear that I could put you in any scenario and you would be fine because you are so clear about who you are.
Yeah.
And it really, oh my gosh, I'm so blown. Anyway, I'm just going to keep reiterating how much I love you throughout the entire podcast.
What I love about being in this community is I really did learn how much, like, I'm a real catch, you know? Like,
you so are!
I was like, and my ex was like, see, I wanted you to see yourself the way that I see you. And like, it's just, I am really popular. And like, there's guys that I have people who keep coming back to me because I'm just who I am.
Yeah, exactly. You are authentic.
Yeah.
And it's refreshing because people try to be a certain way, or they think that they have to be a certain way around people, or they think that they have to say certain things in order for people to like them.
Yeah.
Or, people only like girls who do this, or people only like guys who do this, or people only like people who say this, whatever. And you're just not like that. You're just, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what I don't do.
Yeah,
this is what you get. Like, what you see is what you get. And it's really, really refreshing. And one of the great things that I love about polyamory is that you get to start to see how other people see you.
Yeah.
And you can be really surprised by however you see yourself just isn't true.
No, not at all. It's just like, and it really like pumps your ego. I mean, it's just so great. Like this last weekend, I was like, there was several people who wanted to be with me and like spend time with me and just talk to me. And, and there are several people that I was hoping to see that I've seen several times. And, and I really was talking about how I get like, my body is beautiful. And I've never really gotten that until I was in the poly community.
Great.
Yeah.
That's so great.
I'm just like, I'm hot.
Yeah, dude.
Like, and it's not just that. It's like, and I was told by one of my partners this weekend, like, it's not just my body that, yes, I am hot, but it's also my mind that brings people back to me.
Yeah.
Because I can have conversations and I can really get in their world. And I really am interested in what they have to say. Because for me, it's not just about the sex. While that's really enjoyable, and I am with partners who do what I like and I do what they like, but it's also that I really have a connection with them, and then I can really make that happen. It's so incredible. And that's what's important to me. Because, I'd love to have sex, but there's just more to life than that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, sex itself is just an activity.
Yeah.
It's a fun, enjoyable activity. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the human connection and intimacy and just, there's just such a beauty in being connected to someone in such an intimate way. And not just the sex part, like not just, you can be intimately connected with someone while you're having sex, but it's like the actual relationship of it, where it's like being intimately connected to a human being. Like you said, they are attracted to who you are because of the conversations that you have with them and your interest and you being interested in them.
Yeah. It's just, and I, not to kind of to boast myself, but like I've had many repeat people, like they just keep coming back, and part of me is surprised and part of me is not, it's just like, I was like literally thinking last week, and I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to let a couple people go because I don't know how to keep up with everybody.
I actually, oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, and that's something that people ask me about, and something that I've talked about in previous episodes is, how do you have time for all of it?
Yeah.
And you do, sometimes you have to choose.
Yeah.
It's
just kind of like, sorry. And that's part of the poly community though. It's like, I'm not the only one they're seeing.
Right,
so
exactly.
It's like, and there are lots of new people that come in all the time, so it's not like I'm the only one they're seeing and it's like a breakup, because that's the thing about communication is like, I'm clear. I've had several conversations with people who can, have like primaries, have people who are primary partners in their life, whether it be marriage or not, right? They just have a primary, and I don't have that. I was part of a couple, but we didn't consider each other like a primary. We're just, we were just there to have each other's back, kind of a thing. So it's really unique. But, I've had a lot of those conversations about primary. Nobody really says secondary or anything. It's just, really like, this is my primary relationship, or this is the main person I'm with, or this is who I'm married to.
Yeah.
But that's what I also love. It's like, there's not that like, oh my gosh, we're breaking up, because it's not that serious. And it can be. I mean, I get that. But in what I've been doing and who I am and like what I'm involved in, it's not like that. It's very casual, but it's very clear that that's how it is. So, yeah. So
it's having the clear expectations, clear intentions for the relationship. Everyone is on board with whatever is happening. And like the word that keeps coming up is, it's just clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I will have it go no other way.
Yeah.
I just won't, because I've seen what can happen
when you're not clear.
Yeah.
When there's expectations that aren't clear, when there's intentions that aren't clear. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% upfront. I've said this before, where I go into relationships and I'm just like, this is who I am. This is what I expect. This is da. And it's not like it's a point blank, you can't do anything about it. It's a conversation.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
But it's a clear communication. It's like, this is who I am. This is what I'm upfront about. And if that's something you're on board with, let's continue talking. Yeah. If that's not something you're on board with, then okay, great. Like have a great rest of your day, life, whatever.
Yeah. It's like, I'm not it. And go, you can find many other people that are here. Yeah. And it's funny because I just had a conversation this last weekend with one of the guys that I was with, and he has 2 girlfriends, and I could tell he was interested in me. He was the one that said that it was also my mind that he was interested in. And so I just, he's like, well, what would it take for you to have a partner? Because he knows that I'm single. And I said, well, it would take them being in the education that I'm in. Like, I'm that clear.
Oh, wow.
And with my ex, the first day I met him, I said that. I said, you have to be in this work, because it makes a difference in us being in a relationship. And that's ultimately why we broke up, because he knew from day one, that's what I wanted. Yeah. And 4.5 years into it, he's like, yeah, that's never going to happen. So and I'm just that clear about it, because I know that it doesn't work otherwise. And I had to get really clear about it. So, because it's difficult to make that request of people, because it is a big commitment. It's a whole different thing that you have to go into, and you have to be really clear about it. So, and this guy looked it up online and was like, oh, okay, well, and
did he really?
He did. He was like, oh, so this course is 3.5 days,
Yeah.
I was like, and I supervise these. So yes, I'm in the back of the room.
Yeah. Well, not only, I mean, we could go into that, but but it does. It makes a huge difference, especially since you're someone who's a leader in the programs, and you, it's such a huge part of your life that it's the communication, it's and it's also understanding what you are devoting your time to. Yeah. Even if it were like a sport,
right,
that you were doing, it's like, hey, I expect you to maybe not go to all of my games, but I expect you to understand what this sport is and be able to talk about it with me, or else this is such a huge part of my life that I wouldn't be able to share with such an intimate person in my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing with my opera. Now, I don't expect people to understand opera or whatnot, but I expect them to support me in it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like, be there for me when I'm singing and like want to see me on stage and that kind of stuff. So it's the same kind of thing.
And that's something that I've brought up with partners about other partners too. Like, I don't require my partners to be friends or anything like that. But I did have one of my first relationships inside of polyamory. The person that I was dating didn't want me to talk about my other relationships.
Right.
And that doesn't work for me. It's like telling me that I can't talk about my best friends.
Yeah.
It's,
my gosh.
Hey, these people that you love and you spend a lot of time with, I never want you to speak about them ever. Ugh. And I was just like, no, I'm not gonna do, like, and it's not like I require people to like, it's not like I require my partners to listen to me gush about my other partners, but they're part of my life. I expect my other partners to support me in my other relationships. I thought what you brought up earlier was really, really awesome, because that's something that my girlfriend and I do too, where if there's someone who is interested in one of us, and this has happened with me, there's been a couple people who've been interested in me, and her alarm bells have gone off.
Oh yeah.
She's like, I'm not telling you what to do, and this is what's there for me about this person.
Yeah.
And I could say, okay, I respect your opinion, and I'm going to, do this anyway, blah, blah, blah. But I really listen to that, because sometimes you don't see, you don't, because you're attracted to the person, or there's something else there, or whatever it is. There's something about someone being attracted to you that is, you don't see it. You don't see, because you're like, oh, this person's attracted to me. Yeah, it's so great.
There's something. You just get this blind.
Right. Yeah. It's like it's a blind spot.
It's a blind spot.
Yeah. And then your other part, it's so great, because then your partner can be the voice of reason. That's like, yo, this person's kind of creepy. Like, don't do that, please.
Well, it's so funny, because it segues right into what we were talking about right before we recorded. It was just like, that was the biggest thing for me when you said something about not being able to say something. That's ultimately what happened. Is so my ex is now seeing this girl, and he's talked about her for weeks, and like really likes her, and like, so we've talked about it, and I like asked him a question like, okay, well, do you want to be in a relationship with her? And there's actually something where he messed up and like accidentally made her think that they were together, and he called me right away.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
So he
messed up, and I'm not following that at all.
So, okay, trust me, there's a lot of nuances and stuff.
Right.
Basically what happened is, like, what actually happened is he was looking at changing his Facebook status on his phone, and he accidentally put her as in a relationship with her.
Okay.
And she
I
accepted.
wish that you could see my face on a podcast right now. I'm like, there's so much BS alarm in my brain going off. I'm like, you don't know. I know. Like, that is not, there's so,
I know. So anyway, so the minute that it happened, I know, trust me. There's a little flavor of what happens in this relationship.
All right.
So,
all right.
And so he called me right away, because he was actually out of town when this happened. And he said, I wanted to call you and let you know that this happened, and that it was an accident, because I didn't want to hurt you. So,
oh my god, I'm holding back.
I know.
I'm holding back. I'm like, I have so many opinions about that.
I know. So, and that's, and I bring like, okay, I give you the benefit of the doubt. You didn't want to hurt me. You really respect me. So you wanted to make sure, because, and here's the thing, all the way up through, like, I met this girl. I really like her. He's like, she's a lot like you. So I don't know exactly how, but, and I hadn't met her until Sunday. And, and he really wanted me to meet her. He really wanted her to meet me, because I'm the bar, right? Like, I'm his family, he says, and all of this. So he holds me in really high regard, and wants this woman who he wants to get to know me. But he's also afraid, because there's red flags that have been flown.
About her, you mean?
About her, about his conversations with her, about the things that have happened. I'm not, no specifics or anything, because I want to honor their relationship. But like, and I just flat out told him, like, this isn't the girl. Like, you're telling me all of these things. And like you're saying, your girlfriend will see things that you don't see, and people that are interested. And I saw it. And I'm like, I told him, I will support you either way. It's up to you. It's your choice. But you got to let me know. And I see red flags. and just telling you as your best friend, as your person that you trust, I don't see it working.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, like, he had a fight with her, and we went to a camp out for the weekend, a poly camp out. And he's like, yeah, I think I need to get away from it. Like, I think I'm seeing things clearly now that we're not together. And, you know, we were at the party and we were having fun and we were having, you know, with other partners and that kind of stuff. And one of the things is she isn't poly. She's not.
Oh.
Yeah. And he didn't want me to tell her anything. He didn't want me to tell her about that we were even sleeping in the same bed together. He had told her that he was sleeping on the couch in a one bedroom.
That's red flag number one about
Right.
him and the relationship.
Right,
Like, not
like,
even her, but like not being able to tell someone the truth, like right off the bat, like lying.
Yeah.
I don't even want to say not telling the truth, like lying
right.
to someone who you're interested in
exactly.
right off the bat.
Yeah. Like and you know, I'm not going to postulate like why he would do that. I have an idea because I know him really well, but you know, and it was just, I was like, okay, well, I can respect that. Like, I'll honor your request to not say anything. I mean, I'm not around her. I've never met her. So I will make sure if I see her or meet her, I won't say anything. But it was a red flag. Like, if you're starting off.
It just like hurts my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, well.
It really does.
Yes.
Like, I'm listening to you say this and I'm like,
I know. Yeah. And you know, and I think because I love him and I respected him, I put up with it. But it just, you know, I mean, as you know.
And it's like, it's hindsight 2020, right?
Exactly.
But in those moments, I totally get that because you love someone and you've built this relationship with this person over years and years and years. They tell you that, you know, you're family to them, you're like the number one person that they trust, they love you, like all these things, and then they have this request and it's hard to say no. Like, even though there's red flags, it's hard. It's in those moments, it's hard to do. There's what works, but then there's what you want to do, and they're not often the same thing.
No, so that was kind of the first thing for me. And you know, and I honestly, I was like, I probably won't meet this woman. Like, he said that he was like, it's not going to work because he wants to have a poly relationship and she's actually not okay with that. So how could this work if that's what you want? So I think that was my mindset. Like, I was like, okay, fine, because it's not going to be something. Because I don't see it working out.
Gotcha.
So I think that's what my thought was. So then 2 weekends ago, like, we were fine. Like, he wasn't, but he started talking to her again. And then came this last weekend. And we hadn't spent much time together. He had been traveling. So I hadn't seen him 2 weeks before. Then we went to the camp out, the first one. So we had two. So the first one, and we hadn't seen each other for a while, and we really missed each other, and we really wanted to be around each other. And so we were, and it was great. And then he was supposed to be home between the two, but then he went over to her place. And so I was like, okay, what's going on here? Because he told me, he's like, yeah, I should probably just break it off with her. So I didn't know what was going on. Mm-hmm. And then we went to this last weekend's camp out, and he wasn't really around from my perspective. So I don't know how he sees it. I have an idea of how he sees it because we've fought about it, you know, but like, I haven't gotten the full picture, but he wasn't around a lot. I was, you know, I slept in the tent by myself pretty much both nights, you know, like, and you know, he was kind of distant with me, and he was kind of frustrated with me, and we fought a couple times. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really great with us, but I just kind of just let it go because sometimes he'll get a little upset, and I just give him his space, and then we come back together, and it's fine, you know. So I was just kind of letting it go, but you know, in hindsight, again, it's like red flags. There's things that are starting to come up. Yeah. And then he invited her to the Sunday because it was like the first experience that I had, and it's the same community where it was really chill, laid back. It was like during the day.
Oh, but like when you said the very first one, the, you know, 3 hours on a Sunday sort of thing. Oh, okay. Yeah, gotcha.
Same thing.
Oh,
so it's a really good introduction and orientation.
Yeah.
So, and I met her And she's cute. I think she's really cute. She's sweet. She's very nice. Like, I loved her dress. I thought it was pretty. Like, nothing against her, right? She's just another
I love
woman.
how that's part of it.
I
loved her dress. It was great.
Trust me, I had many outfits over the last 2 weekends.
That's funny.
I'm kind of known for that now. So it's So
your outfits?
My outfits, yeah.
Are you really?
I am, yeah.
Oh no way!
Every time I'd come out of the tent, I have a different outfit, and so
dude, you're so cute.
It's fun.
Oh, I love it. I feel like I should come to one. I'm like enrolled in one of these Sundays now. I feel like I should go.
Yeah, I should totally go.
That'd be fun.
I would totally invite you. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So yeah, and so I met her, and then I went to go find him and say that I met her because he had the request initially. He said, okay, she's coming. And I said, okay, it was a beautiful day outside and I wanted to naked sunbathe. So I was like, okay, but I might be naked sunbathing when she comes. And he's like, could you not do that? I was just like, what? Like, that's what we're here for that. Like,
but that's why I'm here.
I'm here to naked sunbathe out in the grass. Like, that's what you do. And if I can't do that, then what, like, why?
And also why? Like, if that's what she's coming to do, then like, why can't I do that also? Exactly. Like, what, like, why is there why am I the exception here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
She's going to see naked people anyways. How am I
it's not
different?
like you're the only, it's not like Dianne's going to be naked now. It's like,
I'm like, there are many naked people out in the lawn, like, having sex. Like, how was that? I was just going to sunbathe. Like, so.
Oh my god. Okay, so you did not tell me that part.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a poly party.
I got it. When I think poly parties, I do not automatically think people having sex. I honestly, you could, because I've gone to poly things where it's like not automatically that people are going to have sex.
True.
Like, so I just did not. I did not escalate it in my mind to that, and
no, these parties definitely. I mean, it was a 3-day thing, and it was beautiful outside.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's
funny. One of my partners.
So you're naked sunbathing.
Yeah.
People are having sex. This is a whole scene. So are people having sex like just out in the middle of the lawn?
Yeah.
What?
I know. I'm telling you, you want to.
Dude, you're like blowing my mind right
come
now.
Come to these parties.
Okay, well, apparently, I don't. Okay, you're gonna. Okay, but seriously, one of the reasons why I wanted to have this podcast is because some people are like, oh, let's like. What was I saying? That in some communities, I'm like the top bar. Like people would never do the things that I would do.
Yeah.
But in some communities I'm a part of, I'm like the prude one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I'm full in on these things.
Oh
so
God, I love it.
We should definitely talk more about it. But but yeah, so it was, and that was the thing. It's like he'd already told me a couple things where I'm not allowed to say to her, and I'm not allowed to do these things, and now I'm not allowed to be naked.
So now you're not allowed
like,
to say that y'all are sleeping in the same bed,
yep.
and you're not allowed to say, or you're not allowed to be naked.
Yeah, and I'm not allowed to say that we sleep together.
Not allowed to say, even though we were. So he's basically asking you to lie to her as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And
not basically, he's asking you to lie to her also.
And so when I found him after I met her, I said, oh yeah, she's, I met her. She's great. I think she's cute. I like her outfit. He knows me. He knows I would say that.
That's so funny.
And then I said something. Oh, I wish I could remember. I said something and he got upset with me because he thought maybe she was in earshot. And you
said something along the lines of something he had asked you not to say or something like that.
And I don't remember what it was, and so he started yelling at me about it, like, don't say that, like, don't say it out loud. I don't want her here. And I'm like, okay, I know exactly where she is. I know she can't hear me right now. Like, but he just got very upset with me. And I'm like, okay. And then one of the staff members who knows me, like, heard because we were inside, but the doors were open because it was really hot. And so he came in to make sure everything was okay. Because what I also love about this community is there are people there to make sure that we're
it's
safe.
safe. It's safe. That's
that
great.
We're safe.
That's
and
awesome.
Especially with women, that women are safe. you know? And so he came in just to see how I was and if everything was okay. And I'm like, yeah, it's fine, you know, because I mean, I can handle the situation. And I got that our voices were raised. So then I walked out and I started to talk to them about my situation because I needed someone to talk to about this. Because I'm just like, I feel suppressed.
What do you do? Yeah, what do I do?
How do I be around this woman who I want to make a good impression for him and not be myself?
Yeah.
Like, it just was not something that I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know how to get out of it.
Yeah.
So,
also,
you know,
can I just point out how big your heart is? Seriously, that what your concern was in that moment was that he be happy and that she be happy.
yeah. I mean, it was never a concern of mine. Like, I would survive it. Like, I would be fine.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
It was just that.
But then you become this like sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that doesn't work.
I think that was the point that just broke me. I was just like, I can't be around this because I want her to have a good experience.
Yeah.
Because I know that if you don't, like, it can really color what you think of the community.
Yeah.
You know, and so I kept my distance from them, and she was sharing our tent, like, with her stuff, and like she had met me, and she, you know, and they went and did their stuff, and I stayed away from them. And unfortunately, because of how I needed to express myself, some of the guys that were around me were kind of making jokes and stuff, and kind of knew the situation and how uncomfortable it was for me.
Yeah.
And so it made it a little uncomfortable. And
it had like an impact on the community that it was like, because it doesn't work to lie.
Yeah.
And it has an impact on other people. Anyway, continue.
And they were worried about, you know, does she really know what she's getting into?
Yeah.
You know,
like worried for her.
Yeah. Because, I mean, even you didn't know what these were.
Yeah, dude. I was just like, oh, wait, what are we talking about?
So to have somebody
so funny.
Who's not poly come in, you know, I mean, who knows what kind of reaction she was going to have. And we don't want everybody in the community wants to make sure she's safe, and that if it's not something she wants to be exposed to, then she probably shouldn't be there.
Right.
And that was my concern, you know. And so the Sundays are naked pool parties.
Okay. Now I know.
Okay. So there's an indoor pool.
I love how I said yes to this and I had no idea what it was.
Now, you don't have to get naked. So she didn't. She wore a bathing suit and all of that. So you don't have to get naked, but that's what they're called, naked pool parties.
Okay, got it.
So, and so she wore a bathing suit. She went in there with him. I think he was naked. I don't know. I wasn't around them, you know. Then they went to go take a shower in the outside shower, and like things, we were packing everything up, and she helped pack all of our stuff up because she was coming to our place. And like, he asked at one point, you know, do you guys want to hang out afterwards? And I was like, sure, because I knew he wanted us to get to know each other, and he wanted us to get along, because it was very important to him that the two most important women in his life get along and get to know each other. And it just, I was like, yeah, that's fine. Because I was fine with it. And I just didn't realize how much it was going to impact me that I had to stifle myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, so fast forward through all of this, like, we end up going to the movies. And it just, you know, I felt like a third wheel. And I would, you know, she could hold his hand, but I couldn't. I couldn't show any affection to him. And I just couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
Like, she was able to kiss him. She was able to hold his hand. She was able to do everything, and I couldn't do any of it.
Yeah.
And he didn't realize how much it was hurting me. Because all he wanted was for her to have a good time. And for her to, like, it was clear he wanted her to be the one that had the good time and didn't care that I did or not.
Yeah.
Because the way he spoke to me was very different than the way he spoke to her.
Yeah.
And it just, halfway through the movie, tears started rolling down my face. And of course, being who he is, he noticed. And it happened when she started holding his hand. And I thought about all the times that, like, we went to the movies and I would just hold his hand and I couldn't do it. And how in a perfect relationship, in the perfect scenario between the two of us, we'd even talked about this, where we wanted partners that would be open for us to never stop having sex together. That we
so you
could
had
continue.
already talked about that.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't change. Like, there was already a conversation, like, it won't change between us.
He didn't want it to. That was his dream. Now, whether or not he thought it was possible is different. So, because he wants to be with her, it's now not possible because she doesn't want that. And we had a conversation about that later. But he noticed that I was crying and he left the theater. And he's like, why are you doing this to me? Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Your face.
Again, I wish that
Your
podcast
face.
showed faces, because fuck that shit.
Right? I know.
How are you
He was like, I don't know what to say anymore. And I just basically spelled it out to him in a text message. She was outside and I was inside in the movie. And I was like, I felt like I said, I'm sorry. I didn't actually say I'm sorry, because I don't say that a lot, but I was like, I just spelled it out to him. I felt like a third wheel. I said, I don't want to pretend. This is not who I am. And it just really...
And it's a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah, it was really just like, I am not able to express myself for who I am. And that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I can't not be myself because it's hurting me.
Yeah.
And I said I felt like a third wheel. And so he said, and at that point, he's like, I'm going home. She went out to him and must have talked to him. She came in and said, he doesn't want to come in because he saw that you were crying. She's like, were you crying? I was like, yeah. I'm not going to deny it. Like, yeah. And I said, and I'm fine. Like, if he would have just let it go, I could have gotten through it.
Yeah, but then you're surviving something.
Yeah.
And like... Anyway,
so anyway, they ended up leaving. And he said he was going home. I didn't know if it meant, because he was going to stay at her place that night. He wasn't going to come home.
So you didn't know if home meant her place or your place.
Yeah,
got it.
I didn't. And then I was like, okay, so I guess I'm getting a lift home. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to finish the movie. Because I paid for it. It's, so I finished the movie, and then I took a lift home, and then he ended up calling me, and I'm like, where are you? He's like, well, I'm in my car. Basically, he had just gotten in the car with her and not gone anywhere. And I was like, oh, well, I'm at home because you said you were going home. So then he came home, and then it just all blew up. And then basically... She came in. She was in for the whole entire argument and everything.
Really?
Yeah. And at one point...
Did she find out that he'd been lying to her? And
one part of it. She didn't get all of it. Yeah. So she came in.
Did she say anything?
She did. So what happened was I came in. He came in, and then she went to the bathroom, and I said, you know what? I can't do this. Like, I can't not say, I can't not be around you. I can't not be able to kiss you. I can't not be able to say I love you. And that, he's like, and he got really upset with me. And he was like, he didn't want me to say anything. And then he started yelling at me, and he said that he hadn't slept with anyone, and I just had it. And I was like, except for me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, girl.
I just couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't do it. I'm like, you can't do this to me. Yeah. And then he's like, I'm done. I'm moving out. I don't, you've betrayed me. Like,
because he's acting that way because you called him out, and he didn't want to be called out, and he got and he knows that you're telling the truth, and he isn't willing to face the truth. And when someone lies, and then someone holds a mirror up to them, it's like, look, you've been lying. Yeah. Then sometimes that's how they react is, no, F you, blah, 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 blah. You're the one who's broken, yada, 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 yada.
Oh, yeah. He threw stuff at me that...
Are you serious?
Not physically, but like he
oh, okay. Not physically. Okay.
He called me names.
Gotcha.
It took everything for me not to hit back, because I could. You
Right.
know, I know so much about him, and I know what could do it. And I was just like, nope, I'm
Like
gonna
hit
let
back
him.
verbally. You
Verbally.
mean? Okay. You gotta be specific.
I know.
I'm
Sorry.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, are we like threatening violence now
No.
on my podcast? Don't do that, please.
No.
Actually, I did threaten violence earlier. I was
That's true,
I was
you did,
really
yeah.
upset. I was just like, and then I would punch someone in the face. I'm not gonna punch anybody in the face.
No.
I'm not harming anyone. We're not harming anyone.
No.
I'm not advocating harm for anyone.
No.
Ever. Ever.
Yeah. So, yeah, but I could verbally say things that could really hurt him.
Sure, because you know a lot about, I mean.
And I could say stuff about her, and I was like, she's just kind of in the middle of it. Like, and she didn't know any of this stuff. So then they left, and then they came back, and because she had a conversation with him, and then basically, like, he asked me, well, what do you want? I basically said, what I see is us all being kind of in a relationship together. Like me being able to hold your hand and kiss you and tell you I love you, you know, and just
basically
to be open
just
about
being
it.
transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And he looked at her and she said, yeah, well, the kissing, no, I'm not okay with.
Mm-hmm. And then what he say?
And then he's, you know, and so it made it very clear that he's like, well, we're done. We're not doing this anymore. Like, we're not having sex anymore. Okay. He's like, I haven't asked you. He's like, have you noticed I haven't asked you to do that in the last week? And I'm like, you haven't been around in the last week. So basically it came down to, he didn't tell me that the relationship was back on again. So, yeah. So it was just like, it basically came down to, I didn't know what was going on.
And neither did she.
Well, yeah.
It sounds like he was keeping both of you in the dark in some way, shape, or form or another.
Yeah. He was. And I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It just was, you know, it just came to a head. And then he said, okay, I'm not staying here, or I'm leaving. And she at one point was like, well, let's just calm down a little bit and maybe we can revisit it in the morning or whatever. And we haven't talked since.
Mm-hmm. And that was when?
That was Sunday. So that was 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And
dang,
then
dude.
The newest thing is that he's officially put that they're together on Facebook. So they're Facebook official.
Not on accident this time.
Not on accident. Yeah. He said, he actually put like a post, like, you know, it's actually happening.
Put like an actual thing. Whatever.
So yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. And, you know, I still love him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd still support him. Like, if he wants to be in a relationship, fine. Like, I don't, whatever. But like.
In a relationship with her, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. You know, but I'm making clear boundaries. You know, there's a lot of things that I do to support him. And if it's no longer my responsibility, I'm letting that go.
Yeah.
And like, if, you know, because part of the thing with being in these communities and the places we go is that we go as a couple, because he has to go with a woman. And so we became a couple. We were like, when it happened, we were like, oh, irony, because we're no longer a couple and now we're seen as a couple in all of the different places. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's like, I can be a single woman and go to anything.
Yeah.
But he has to bring a woman if he wants to go. So that's why.
Why? That's his rule? Or
No, that's the club's rule. Those are the rules that they have. Unless, because they do gender balancing. It's called gender balancing.
Oh, okay.
And so for certain nights, so that it's not all men.
That is honestly, that's one reason why I don't go. So yeah, what's going to be illuminated in me doing these podcasts is how little of the poly like night scene that I do, because I don't do it. And that's one reason why I don't is because you walk in, especially as like a single female, like if I went by myself or if you went by yourself, it can be overwhelming to go as a single woman by yourself to a poly event that is mainly male dominated. And then even if, you know, and I am attracted to all genders. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter because if someone's attracted to you, they'll come over to talk to you, which on one level, it's like, okay, yeah, like that's what it's for. Like people come over to you, they're attracted to you, whatever. But when you're like an attractive single female, it can get really overwhelming and scary.
Yeah. And
quickly.
That's why they have a gender balance. Like there's some things, I mean, we could talk a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's a completely different topic.
Yeah. But in the things that we go to, because I'm actually interested in more like not the nightclub scene, because this is how I,
Right. That's the other thing too, is that I also don't, even outside of the poly community, I'm not really a part of the nightclub scene either. Like it's just not a thing that I do.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't really need to do that, but this is how I've kind of gotten into it. So so that's what I'm used to, and that's what we do. So it's like, he's going to start to see if this is what he chooses, which he has now said, basically without saying it to me, this is what I choose. He's going to start to see what it's like to not have me be around and not have me be the one. Because in my kind of, throwing verbal things out, like I told her at one point, I'm like, he's your responsibility now. Because it's like, I'm no longer responsible for this human. I'm no longer responsible for what he does or, how he acts or any of that. Yeah. And I have been doing that for the last 5 years. And I'm not willing to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that our marriage wasn't ended yet. It was in a conversation with myself about what I wanted to do, given like what was going on.
Yeah.
And one of the conversations that I had was with a woman who said, you're your homework. You are your homework. And the relationship is your homework. He is his homework.
Yeah.
And the relationship is his homework. And if he's not doing his homework, there's nothing that you can do about that.
Yeah.
There isn't.
Yeah. Yeah. It just, and it just leads up to, so there's this like, I'm really raw right now. And I go from like,
this was 2 days ago. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
I go from like, I love him. I'm really hurt. I'm really sad, to this is clearing the way for me to find the partner that will be the match.
Yeah.
So it's, so I'm kind of in between those two spaces right now, because it now is like, okay, we've cut the ties. He's chosen what he's chosen. And he's all but said, I'm not it. And, so then it's like, okay, we'll move on. It clears the way so that all the energy and everything from what we have together is no longer there. Yeah. And in that, it clears the way for the partner that I am actually creating to show up.
What is the partner that you're creating to show up?
I have a long list. I've actually I've created it.
You created it?
Oh yeah. I created it.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I tell people to do this. Yeah. I'm like, sit down, make a list, write out everything. Everything. I actually, you know what? Funny enough, I've never done this before. I've never done this exercise before. I have created with, my relationship right now. So when my husband moved out and then, I came to the decision that we're going to have a divorce and all this stuff, I created then again, exactly what you just said.
Yep.
There's this new space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't create what you want the space to be filled with, it will automatically be filled with what you're used to. Totally. And I was clear I didn't want that, because I was clear that I had a pattern.
Yes.
And I'm no longer willing to have that pattern in my life because it's not serving me.
Yes.
So I'm now creating the partner to show up, and I'm playing with that I have a primary.
Girl. Oh, amen.
Yeah. So that's what there is. That's really what there is. And I'm leaving the space open to have my ex be loved and be supported and have the life of his dreams. I'm about that people have the relationship of their dreams. That's my life. It was you saying that. That's what it was. It was you saying that.
It was, you said to me, I'm about people having, what was it? Having the relationship of their dreams. And that's the moment where I was just like, you have to be on my podcast. And the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing, Diann, about everything that you just said is that regardless, because I think that, even me sitting here, I have a lot of opinions about like what happened and how it went down and da-da-da-da.
Everybody does.
So many opinions.
You all will.
So many opinions about it. And they don't matter.
No, they don't matter.
And what does matter is who you get to you're so friggin' brilliant and inspiring. And this is why I love you so much, because regardless of what happened, that who you are for people is that people get the relationship of their dreams.
Yeah.
And that also doesn't mean there's a couple things that I wanted to point out about what you said. Mm-hmm. Number one, you saw that you were in a pattern.
Yeah.
You saw that there was a pattern of how your relationships have gone.
Yeah.
And that you wanted to end that pattern.
Yeah.
And not only in that pattern, but in having this new space that you created something new of your creation that the space got filled with, because you know that if you don't fill it with something that you create, that automatically that pattern will come back up.
Yeah.
So first of all, that's so brilliant. And I just acknowledge the heck out of you for everything that you've done, learned, observed, been trained in, discovered for yourself.
Yeah.
That's what you're able to do. And that not only that, but that you can still hold a space for this person who was, a very important person in your life, and you can still love them and want them to have the best and want them to have the relationship of their dreams.
Yeah.
And also have the respect and integrity with yourself to remove yourself from a situation or cut the ties that you need to in order to have integrity with yourself. Like being like, I'm not responsible for you anymore. You are responsible for you.
Yep.
Yeah. Like it's so brilliant and it's so inspiring, and I'm so it's just like so there are no words.
Yeah.
Wish I had more words.
Yeah. Well, and and it's one of the things I am clear about is I don't have to have it all worked out to be that for people.
Yeah.
Like, it was so funny because I was creating that with a group, and one of the people in the group asked me, so do you have the relationship of your dreams?
Uh-huh.
And it was so funny because I was like, at the time, it was before all of this, right? So I was like, actually, in the moment, I do, because I have someone who is, open to me having sex with other people and having relationships with other people, and they're there to support it. And that person is there to, look out for me, and I look out for them. And it was like the perfect thing. So in that moment, I actually did have the relationship of my dreams. And that's pretty much what I said. And I was like, and, for the future, I'm creating something for the future that is perfect, because I get that that's not what I want long term, but it is what I want right now. In the
brilliant words of Michelle Obama, you are allowed to change your mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes.
You are allowed. Oh my God. When I heard that, I literally heard that it's I'm going to plug Oprah's Super Soul podcast. Not that Oprah needs to be plugged.
Right.
Not that Oprah needs to be plugged ever for the rest of eternity.
Right.
I listened to her podcast with Michelle Obama.
Oh my gosh.
That was one of my biggest takeaways from that podcast was you're allowed to change your mind. What might work for you at one stage of your life might not work for you. So maybe, at one point you were in the relationship of your dreams.
Yeah.
And now there's a new dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There really is. And I'm still exploring, is that like what I really, really want? And it may or may not be. But right now, yeah, what I'm creating is a partner that's open to being in an open relationship, and that we create it how we want to create it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, is that as you have the ability to create and create newly and create newly and create newly, you know, your dream can change, you know, and you could have the relationships of your relationship or relationships of your dreams right now, and then in 5 years have it be with the same people, completely different, still the relationship of your dreams. Yeah. Or you could have the relationship of your dream right now, or relationships of your dreams right now, and then maybe in 5-10 years you don't have any of those same relationships, and you're in new relationships, whatever, plural, that are still the relationship of your dreams. Like, it doesn't have to be one. I think that's the beauty of what we're creating with this podcast, is that it doesn't have to look a certain way. Ever at any point. It does not have to look a certain way.
I was clear with my ex, like from the moment we started, like when he asked me to be his girlfriend, I was like, all right, it's between you and I. Our relationship is a creation that you and I create. It doesn't matter what anybody else says. It's what we create. And that's just what there is. And now I'm clear that my relationships, whatever, are for others. My relationship is for other people. It's not for me. I want them to see out of my relationships that that's what they want. Like, there's something about what I have that they want to have. And I give it away to them.
It's like you get to have the relationship with your dreams. Almost not in order to is not the right word, but that it sets a stage. It sets a stage that it's like, this is what's possible. Like, it's totally.
Like, you can totally have this. And I have couples that are like that. And that's where I got it from. I mean, I didn't come up with it on my own. I literally have a couple.
No one has original thoughts anymore.
Right.
No, friggin', you know, if I have original thoughts, then I'm just fooling myself.
Right. I steal things all the time. And this I did steal because I talked to them about it, and they're like, we don't have a relationship for ourselves. We have it for other people. We have it for them, so that we're clear who we are. So they can see what's possible.
I love it.
And it's just, and that's what I'm out for. And I honestly will not settle for any less.
Oh my God. You just fill my heart with so much joy. And I know that we could talk for just hours. For hours. And I'm so, so happy that we got this time together to chat, because also this is the first P.S. This is the first time that we've ever done this.
I know.
We always just see each other. Whenever we see each other, we're like, hi, I love you. You're so great. Da, 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 da. Give me the 30-second synopsis of your life. And then bye.
We're both of us. Yes, we're always up to something. So.
I know. So I feel like, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, you know, you're incredibly inspiring. The integrity that you have for yourself, the integrity that you have in your life, the love that you bring, like the love and the grace and the, I don't know, just this warm, welcoming, beautiful, like everything's okay. Like you just bring that everything's okay, Diann. And I just love you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being so open and vulnerable and fun.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. I love you so much. It's been so great to be able to have this conversation.
You're welcome.
Awesome.